I think I might have gotten it together. Wow. Sister Marcia. I wonder how can I see if I am live in Facebook? I can't see. Let's see if it's saying anything. This is my last attempt. That's me live right now. I am on YouTube. Oh, yes. Right now, I am on I just don't know if I'm on Facebook. Okay. Oh, I am. I got one person watching. Wow. I think it's me. Okay. So, hi. I don't know if you know this. My name is Sister Joanna Wade. I am starting a channel called Modestly Made, and I want to create a sewing circle, a community of like-minded women wanting to learn to sew, wanting to sew their own clothes and make an impact on their wardrobe as well as anybody else's, their daughters, their sons. My overall goal is to create a girls' clothing line, a modest girls' clothing line, so that they have more out there to choose from. If you don't have a little girl, you probably don't know the struggle, but I do have little girls that I shop for, and it is so hard to find modest apparel in the department stores. Either it's too flashy with all the rainbows and the unicorns, or as is short sleeved, or if it's a long skirt, it has no sleeve. If it's long sleeve, it has a short skirt. So I got a little bit frustrated with that, and I wanted to change the world so that we have more modest clothing for our little girls. Why they want them in short clothes, I don't know. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, you have to ask yourself those questions. Why can't you find a lot of modest apparel in the stores? I mean, it's a little sick to me, but I'm not going to dwell on that, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just going to try to show my sewing techniques and things that you might have come across. Like, for instance, I'm doing a lot of alterations for the women in the temple, the girls and the women in the temple, because alterations need to be made to a lot of the garments out there. Putting lining underneath the skirts, that's one that I'm working on. I wanted to show you here today, but my camera setup is connected to a certain software, and that software is not working so well. So I have to kind of test it out. I thought I tested enough, but once you go live, you're live. So I can't test out the live and make sure that everything is showing up where it needs to show up. So I'm sad about that, but maybe I'll figure it out and get used to this, because I'm gonna go live every single week so that you can, follow along with me, and we can talk and chat, and even pull you guys up on the live to sew with us and to show us techniques if you have some techniques you want to show. So I'm going to try to change this camera angle, see what happens. And, oh, there we go. Oh, this is nice. If I can just change the focus, I think we're in business. All right, how's that? Oh, that looks great. If you're on Facebook, please let me know. Give me a shout out in the chat so that I can know that you are there and it is live. Please, please, please. All right, so sorry, I'm not going to be looking at my comments for a second while I go over what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the dress that I'm working on. Sister wants a a lining underneath this dress. This dress, it feels like it's 100% polyester. The lining, I'm going to put just a regular lining underneath this. It's I don't know what fabric this is, what fabric. I think it's polyester, but it's more of a poly cotton blend. So it lays very nice underneath. It's very, very thin. And how you want to do a lining like this, I put lining under a few dresses. You want to start with turning the garment inside out, because I always want to see what I have to work with here. So we have an elastic band underneath, inside, of course. And then if you can see, this isn't just a matter of taking the lining and laying it here and just sewing it all the way around. Reason being is because you have some gathering here. So this garment isn't just this length around. It's not. It's not 19 inches, or you double that, 40 inches, 38 inches. It's not 38 inches around. To get the actual width of this fabric, you have to pull out the stretch, because this has been gathered so that it expands with the elastic band. So with this one, what I would do is I'll put the 0 on the side seam. I'll hold it down like that. And then I will not hold this, and I'll just let it stretch out that way. So now I have exactly 28 inches of fabric here. And then you double that on the other side. Forgive me, I'm not good at math. I'm going to have to add that up on a calculator. But 28 times 2. 56 inches of fabric in the waist. So that's what I would need for my lining. I think I want to take it from the top here. So we're going to measure this out. Put this aside. How much did I say? I don't have a good memory either, you guys. So 56 inches. 56. So let's see. I'm trying to get that straightened out there. There we go. Come on, fabric, act right. Be patient, Joanna. All right. Set that 33 there. Three. 23. $53. And then 3 more inches. Right there. I'm just going to cut that. And that's it. You can cut it right across if you're not comfortable with ripping it. Some people aren't comfortable with ripping it. It's just lining, so it's not that big a deal. I just rip it. If it was like the actual fabric that I'm making my garment on, I would definitely want to cut it because I want a perfect cut. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pin this all the way down because I want to do a stitch right down the fabric. I'll probably cut this because I'm gonna try to see if it's too long. I don't want it that long. I think we can get away with a very short lining. So here. So let's do about halfway. I think that'll be a good enough size. So we don't have church this Sunday in Atlanta Temple. What do we do? I guess I'll just watch Pastor online. All right. So we got our lining. So I'm going to pin it together at the back. Well, I call the back, but it's really anywhere. Right. Okay, let's get to sewing. Now I did a bottom stitch as a hot pink, just so you can see those bottom stitches. You see there? And you can be able to distinguish them both, the top thread and the bottom thread. I'm going to keep it at a 5/8 seam allowance. Oh, and I got a new machine, just in case you didn't notice from my videos. I have the Brothers. I ended up having to get a new sewing machine because I was out of the country for a while, and I took my sewing machine with me, and decided, and it got there fine, but decided to bring it back, and it didn't get here so fine. So it had broken. I didn't know what was going on. It wouldn't go forward, like it wouldn't stitch forward. It would only stitch backward, and I was just devastated. But I mean, that is to be expected. They do not handle the baggage, the luggage well on any of the airlines. So, but anywho, this is my new Singer. Got caught on something. All right, so we stitched that up. Let's see the bottom stitches and the front stitches. Let's see if we can get that in focus. The tension on here can be a bit better. So I'm gonna change that to about a 4. Tension, you'll know if your tension is off. Also, if you're using a different color bottom stitch from the top stitch, you can tell, because you're not supposed to see see if you can see that. You're not supposed to see the black dots. And on the front, you're not supposed to see the pink dots. So on the front, we see it's fine. On the back, we can see the black. And that's something that you don't want to happen. So I have my tension a bit low. So you keep your tension about halfway, which should be about 4 on your machine. That's a good medium width. The only time you really change your tension is if the way your thread is feeding is different. Like mine is feeding from the floor. From the table instead of on top of my machine, because my spool is huge. I have one of the bigger spools, so I keep it on a spool holder, which can mess with my tension because it's not meant to be feeding from a spool on the table surface. So, but that's okay. This is just a lining, so it's not going to really matter that much. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do with this is we're going to have to put in 2 rows of long stitches so that we can gather the top of this lining. Just like it was gathered on the actual dress, we're going to be gathering it on the top so that we can stitch it to the elastic that's already on there, and it'll still have that stretch there. So let me show you how we're going to stitch it. I'm going to start at the seam. And I'm going to stitch about, what's this? 3/8 from the edge. I'm going to change my stitch length to 5.0. Hold on, I want to get back to the, okay, now it's 3. Okay, 4.5. I'm going to keep it there. And I'm just going to keep it at 0 stitch. Now, when you're doing a gather stitch, you of course do not back stitch. That's not good. Again, you do not want to back stitch here. You just want to get pretty close to the seam, but not too close where you're on the actual seam. And you want to make sure you pull a lot of the thread outside of this stitch like this. So we're going to pull out quite a bit of thread here, and then we cut it off. And so I like to do 2 lines just in case one of the threads break when you're gathering. Just a rule I have for myself because I've had it happen where it broke and I had to re-stitch the whole thing. That wasn't fun. So I'm going to sew another one about 5/8 inch from the selvage. Or selvage. I don't know. I always pronounce that wrong. It's called a selvage. That is the edge of the fabric, the raw edge of the fabric. Still got my stitch there. Stitch length is still long. Don't forget, don't back stitch this time. Just take your time. You want it to be fairly close to the first stitch. Oh, Benita, I see you. It's very delayed, so forgive me if I don't say something to you. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to get more live comments. Sister Benita said that your mom used to make your clothes. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I think getting this sewing circle going is a great thing. Did you know, like, sewing circles used to be a crucial and a very important community? They used to have to mend the clothes of men at war. So when they used to go to war, they used to have to bring their clothes back and mend the uniforms of the soldiers. And women used to come together and be in a circle, you know, doing that mending for the soldiers. Also, our ancestors, enslaved people, used to have sewing circles, and what they used to do was meet and fellowship there to teach the younger generation how to sew clothes, all the different techniques for different stitching and how to mend the clothes, so that they can make clothes for themselves as well as you know who. But yeah, so it was, but it was a time for fellowship. It was a time for praising God and for speaking through issues and understanding, um, how to sew and how to work and how to just be, how to take care of a husband, how to take care of a family. So it means a lot. It really does. And that's the type of stuff I think about while I'm sewing. Is just life and God and love, and it's so soothing. Okay, right here we don't want to go too close. Okay, that's good. Okay. And we want to pull out the thread quite a bit of ways. All right. Okay, great. So that is a good double stitch, long stitch, so that we can gather up our fabric. I'm going to go over to the table so you can see me gather. All right, so there's our skirt with our 2 lines of gather thread. See the pink on the inside and the black on the outside. What we want to do is isolate our 2 top threads. We just pull. We pull and we separate. We pull and we separate. Just the top threads. Pull and we separate. Kind of pull it down, I should say. I want to get it evenly around. You gotta be gentle or you're gonna break the thread. So just take your time and work it all the way around. Pull a little more. There's a way to gather on the machine, but I just have not looked that up to figure out how to do that. If any of you know how to do that, let me know. Send me a video or something. Show me, because I don't know how to gather on the machine. I just do it by hand. I don't know if you need a special foot or what. I mean, by foot is presser foot. Just so you know, I'm not talking about your actual feet. You don't need feet to sew. Well, I guess you kind of do. You kind of do need some feet to sew. Need at least one. That's good. You see how that's cinching in like that? Got some hip. I'm going all the way around. I guess you can go on the other side. You see, I'm pulling these right now. There is 2 other threads. Stay away from the pink ones. That's another reason why it might be good to use a different color bottom thread than the top thread, so you can see which one you should pull when you're gathering. Never thought of it that way, but I didn't do that on purpose. I don't know. Something's happening with this thread right here that I don't like. It's tangled. The pink one. Sorry, I gotta pick this out a bit. It's not coming out for me. Oh well, I'll just stick with the top ones. The bottom one doesn't want to act right. Okay. I think that's pretty good, but I want to even this out a little bit more. All right. Usually, when I am sewing, I'll turn on some pastor and I'll just sew and sew and sew and listen and sew and listen. So what I want to do is I am going to put this over the inside. Well, first, let me show you this. This is inside out, and the bodice is tucked inside so that you're getting just the waist. of the dress. So where they put the waist. And then you're taking this and you're putting it inside of your gathered fabric. That way, the lining is falling towards the skirt and not towards the bodice when you turn it back right side out. What you're going to do, you're going to find your center seam where you sewed it up at. Get your threads out the way, and you're going to find if there's a center seam, a back seam, you're going to find that and match it up so you can pin it. But this one, is that the back seam? Yep. The back seam is right here. I don't think it has a front seam. Nope. Just the back seam. Hope you can see this. And I'm going to match those two up. I'm going to pin it. And go all the way around. Now when you're pinning these, you want to pin below your thread. Like this, below the thread. Because you're still going to gather this a little bit to see if it fits or loosen some of the gathering that you already did. So if you put a pin right in the way of your thread, then it'll be hard for this to gather because it has to skip over that pin. So what I do is I pin it below the thread. Oh, I gotta get me some water. I'm a little parched. Greetings, Sister Marcia. Thank you for your kind words of encouragement. I'm going to get it together though. Man, this is such a great learning experience. And it's going to be better than ever the next time. Maybe the next few times. It'll be better than ever. I would have learned a thing or two. Beef up my internet. I think it was my internet that was causing the lagging in my first few streams and the disconnecting. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get some more bandwidth, I think. Then I'll be able to show you all I wanted to show you. Okay, so you see how we got a gap right here? That means we need to let out some of our gather. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to find out the center of this right now, like the center of that unpinned part of the fabric. And I like to pin it to the center of the other side of the fabric, like here. And then what you do is you just gently move the gather out, but you're going to move this gather forward so that it can be evenly distributed. So I'm going to move that out a little bit. I might come around here and move this gather over some. Remove this pin. Oh, sorry, you can't even see. Sorry. I just be doing my own little thing. Pull that a little bit. Just work my way. Okay, I got that little bit done. Okay. Now for this. Just giving it a little. Take this out for a second. There we go. See a line over here that I can use. There we go. Hold on. Sorry, I need to straighten this out a bit. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew to it. I'm going to sew to, sorry, I'm trying to set this up. I want to sew to the fabric instead of the elastic. So I'll probably sew right below where the elastic stop in that seam. There's already a stitch there if you can see it. Then I'm going to try to keep it too. I'm falling apart here. Hey, Amina. That's my cousin. My cousin Amina. How you doing, girl? I was looking at YouTube. YouTube is caught up. I don't know why Facebook ain't caught up. Okay. Gotta replace some of my pins real quick here. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna start right. I should start at the seam. I'm gonna start at the seam. That's just good practice. Just start at the seam. I'm gonna take this off. It just makes it easier. Pins keep coming out. Don't come out no more. Okay, so don't forget you change your stitch. You need to change it back because you can't get away with these long stitches actually finishing the garment. You have to pick them out and stitch again. So I'm going to stitch a little bit further over. Okay, just making sure I'm not all twisted up and my pins are staying before I start. Okay, here we go. Now you do want to back stitch for this one. Pull your pins as you go. Now, the most important thing to remember when you're sewing down a gather, do not stretch out the elastic or the fabric. So like you tend to, when you're holding it here, you tend to hold on to it and let it go under there, and then it stretches out. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you don't apply any pressure pulling back on this, so that the gather attaches to that elastic better. So like it'll follow the elastic route, I guess you would call it. I don't know, but it'll stretch with the elastic. So just take your little time. Make sure you're checking underneath to pull the fabric out from under, so you're not having fabric gather underneath it. You're turning your fabric as the machine sews. Don't be afraid to mess up. I mess up all the time. I am not perfect. And I just have to pick it out. Oh, I lost the pin. We've hit 1 hour. I'm going to finish this up and I'm going to let you guys go. My pin slipped out, so it's not holding it anymore. So it's slipping underneath a little. Okay. Yes. Ooh. That fabric can get tricky. There we go. Now this is where you back stitch. There we go. Oh, hold on. There we go. All right. And this you can cut short. All right. Now all I have to do is pull the gather stitches out and it'll be good to go. I'm not going to do that. Take up your time doing that. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn it and then I'll show you what we did. Okay, so that is the lining. Like I said, there's cleaning up that we have to do, but we will clean it up. I will pull out those stitches and it'll be fine. So this is it inside out. And now we're going to turn it. And you got your lining. Got your lining in there. You got your waist in there. Lining on the inside. No more see-through on the outside. And that's it. Well, sis, I hope you enjoyed. I talk to you face to face. Well, I hope you enjoyed my live stream. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It'll be better next time, I promise. And next time, if you want to come up and just show your face on my live and talk and ask questions or tell me a few things, then by all means do so. I'm going to put a link in the chat and I can bring up to like 5 people up if you want to set up your room or your sewing room and your sewing machine, and we can just be on live together. We can do it that way too and have an actual virtual sewing circle. That is my goal, to have that type of community, just like they are all on YouTube having their 6-person panel talking about God knows what, debating and getting each other mad. We can have that same environment, but the right way. very positive, very nice and calming, and just act like we got some sense. So, and learning. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned next week on Modestly Made Live, the Sewing Circle. Peace be.